All right, what is going on, you guys? My name is Bubba, and welcome back to another insane story. So today's story takes place back when I was in high school. And funny enough, this was the summer of 2017, and basically me and the boys wanted to do something insane. Now, I was 16 at the time, and I literally just got my license around this time, around the summertime. So obviously, I had a car, and me and the boys, we'd always plan to go do some dumb stuff around this time. I remember basically me and the boys, we'd always plan to go do something silly or something goofy or something even illegal. But I remember this time, me and the boys wanted to do something very different, and that was actually, funny enough, go to the water slides. Now, if you guys don't know, basically down here in Vancouver, we have a place called Cultus Lake Water Slides. It's a really good water park, and honestly, it's really fun. And honestly, all of you guys should go there. It's not sponsored anyway in this video, but the story does take place there. So basically, what me and the boys decided to do is we decided to go to a water park. Basically, this water park had a bunch of crazy slides and all this stuff, and honestly, it was super exciting. The reason me and the boys wanted to go, though, is because we had a strategy, a method of basically not having to wait in lines. Because if you guys don't know, it's kind of like Disneyland. You have to wait in line for a super long time just to go on one water slide. Especially during the summertime, it was like the most like craziest time to go to this place. So I remember as we were driving down there, my friend was talking to us all in the car saying, here's the plan. Basically, what you gotta do is you just gotta go to the very top of the water slide in the lineup and just get someone's tube that's too scared to go on the slide, and automatically just go down. Me and my friends thought this was a dumb idea, so when we got there, we originally was like, okay, whatever. So we went to the water slides, we got changed, and afterwards we started going into lineups. Except we would skip the lineups, go to the very top, and basically we start going down water slides. And we started doing this over and over, and surprisingly, this method was working like a charm. But on top of that, I remember a lifeguard was really upset at us for doing this, but at the same time, he said, well, someone's gotta go down, I guess, and basically let us go. Then I remember one time when we were actually quickly stopping at our table that we had at the water park, we quickly went to like go eat something real quick and stuff, and we ended up seeing a group of girls that were really attractive go around the water park, aka the water slides, or whatever you want to call it. I remember I pointed out to my friends that those were really hot girls and we should try to go talk to them. Now, unlike my friends don't really have any self-confidence. They don't really feel like they can pull chicks. Like, don't get me wrong, they try to, but in a way, they're like the people that don't really care for it and wait for destiny to bring them a woman. As for me, a helpless romantic, well, I just go ahead and let's go talk to them. So I remember me and all my friends, we got up and they waited in line like good people, so we decided to wait in line with them. As we were waiting in line, I remember I basically started the conversation saying, yo, so you guys like from around here? And basically they started talking to us saying, oh, like we're just like a town like over, like we're actually like really chill and stuff. And then we started talking to them, and honestly, there was one girl in that group that I found really attractive. She was some really hot blonde girl with big cherries that was very visible through a swimsuit, and I really wanted to talk to her because I did not want to not stop talking to her, basically. The only funny thing was that she was in like a one piece, which I don't know why. Usually I'm like attracted to girls in bikinis more, but the fact that she was wearing a one piece and pulling it off, that kind of made me like, you know, more attracted to her, I guess. I don't know. It made no sense. I don't know. I'm just kind of throwing things out there. Anyways, going on with the story, I remember we waited in line for almost half an hour. Half an hour of just us talking to them and stuff really got us to know them. Like, for example, like to a first name basis. But I mean, I hope it's their actual names. I'm not sure, to be honest. And basically from there, we started talking to them, talking about their jobs and all this stuff. And this one girl that I was really attracted to, she didn't say much. All she said was, oh yeah, like I'm very just familiar with this place. And also like, I don't know, like I'm like a really good swimmer. And from there, I was like, oh, so if I drowned, you could save my life. And then she said, well, like technically, yeah, when I'm on duty, I could. On duty? And that's when I realized that she was a lifeguard. Going on, I remember we got to the top of the water slides, and me and the boys, we decided to split apart, and basically we decided to go, each one of us with a girl. Because luckily we were a group of 4, and they were also a group of 4, so, you know, it kind of worked out. 2, 2, 2, 2, and 2. Sorry, that was more 2s than I expected. Anyways, I went with a really hot girl in the one piece, and we decided to go down on the water slide, and basically, I remember as we went on the tube to go down the water slide, it was called the black hole, by the way. I don't know if anyone can make a joke about that, go for it, but me and this girl were gonna go down the black hole, and basically, I remember when we went and sat on the tube to take us down the black hole, she basically grabbed onto my leg, and I remember once she grabbed onto my leg, like she was really close to grabbing my eggplant, basically. Like her head was really close to it, okay? And I had a perfect view of her cherries. Like it was the funniest thing ever, and I remember instantly when we sat on that tube, I got bricked. I'm not joking when I say this, I got legitimately bricked on this water slide with this girl. And this water slide was supposed to be scary, by the way, but me, I got so bricked to the point where I didn't even notice how scary the water slide was. Going on from there, I remember we went down the water slide. It only took like 2 seconds. Surprisingly, it was a pretty short water slide. And then afterwards, me and her, we started basically talking. And when we got out of the pool, she realized that I was bricked. She She literally looked from my eyes down to my eggplant and saw that I was bricked up like a brick. I don't know how else to explain it. Like, I was packing, all right? So I remember she ended up saying, oh, like, do you just want to like go to like the table and just wait for them? I remember I said sure, and I ended up taking her to our table that we had reserved at the water slides. And basically, we ended up sitting down and talking. She ended up telling me, hey, so like pass your snap. And I ended up giving her my phone and she gave me her Snapchat. Honestly, it was a major W because I didn't have to ask for it. When girls give me their Snapchat, that automatically is like kind of like a win. Like, if a girl ever gives you guys her Snapchat, just know you're basically in the clear to go hit her up. And then I remember at this moment, since I was bricked, my mind was not straight. That makes no sense. Sorry, I was straight, but like my mind wasn't settling, if that makes sense. Literally, the whole time I kept staring at her cherries and not being able to focus on an actual conversation with her. And I think she realized this and literally stood up and grabbed my wrist and said, okay, just follow me. I was like, oh, okay. And I ended up following her and we ended up going to this like emergency area at the water park. And the weird thing is that it was no like visible emergency area with like a big sign. It was just like an emergency area that was like hidden behind like some bushes and stuff. And it was behind the water slides. So I didn't even notice this at all. And I'm surprised she knew about this. And she took me in there and we instantly started making out. Yeah, I know. She instantly just grabbed my face and started making out with me. It was kind of weird and kind of just really insane. We started making out. And at this point, I knew that she wanted to do the devil's tango because she started reaching her hand down there. And basically, I remember I stopped her real quick and asked her, I'm like, should we even be back here? I think like only workers could be back here. And then she said, oh, no one's going to say anything. Like, I work here, by the way. Wait, what is what I said? I'm like, wait, you work here? And then she said, oh, yeah, like I'm a lifeguard. Oh, that makes sense. Because, you know, how else would you know about the spot? Anyways, me and her, we started making out. We were about to do the devil's tango. But right as I realized it, I remember my phone was in my back pocket because I brought it with me when we were talking at the bench. And basically, my phone started vibrating. At first, I thought it was her hand like jiggling or something, which, I mean, don't get me wrong, that wouldn't be a bad thing. Actually, that's weird. Never mind. Going on with the story, though. I ended up picking up my phone and stopping her, and instantly I answered my phone, and basically it was the boy saying, yo, Bubba, where you at, bro? Like, where'd you take the girl? Like, did you go home with her? Like, what's going on? And I remember I looked at her saying, listen, we gotta do this another time, but like, I'll come back, I swear. And then she told me, but my schedule's like always like busy. Like, I'm always here. And then I remember I'm like, oh, I'll just come back here tomorrow. She looked at me and said, you would come all the way back here tomorrow just to see me? And I told her, yeah, why not? Like, I didn't really care. I enjoyed the water slides anyway, and tomorrow was gonna be hotter than today, so might as well. She ended up laughing, saying, okay, well, like, I guess I'll see you tomorrow then. And we basically ended up going back to the table, and we basically split our ways from there. I ended up telling the boys that I was in and we made out, and none of the boys believed me. But I said I'm coming back tomorrow, and some of them wanted to come back with me tomorrow, so only 2 of them said yes to coming back, so it was a squad of 3. Basically, the 3 musketeers were coming back tomorrow to go see the damsels in distress. That sounded really bad, sorry. But anyways, knowing this, I ended up going home that day, and I remember we were snapping each other back and forth, me and this really hot lifeguard. And let's just say she ended up sending me a photo for cherries without the one-piece suit on, and damn, was it like Christmas in July. Like, no joke, I was happy. But the story doesn't stop there. Trust me when I say this, things get wet. Yeah, I could say that, can't I? Anyway, okay, so some of you guys wanted the next part of the story, and honestly, I am here to tell it to you guys. But before that, since Christmas is coming up, we're doing a Christmas advent calendar for the full week leading up to Christmas. In my Discord server, we will be watching Christmas movies, and on top of that, do crazy game nights with all of us together. And on top of that, we'll be doing awesome live streams live with you guys watching, and also giveaways to give back to you guys this year. Make sure you guys do join the Discord server down below if you haven't already, and verify yourselves for awesome things happening this week on the server. So like I said before, join the Discord server link down below, and I hope to see you guys there. Anyways, back to the crazy story. So last where we left off, I remember basically I got this lifeguard Snapchat. She was super hot, really attractive, and I remember last thing I remember is that she sent me a picture of her cherries without like her swimsuit on. Yeah, it was one of those photos. But anyways, I remember after seeing this, I was really excited and I got bricked up, and obviously I did my thing. But the main thing is that the next day I already did promise her that I was gonna go to the water slides, and to be honest, when I woke up that morning, I realized that I wish I didn't tell her that, because I'm not gonna lie, like, it's exhausting going to water slides again, because yesterday was already exhausting enough. But I remember I basically decided to go to her, and basically, you know, I did tell her that I was gonna go see her, and she was excited for me to go see her because she literally messaged me that morning saying, hey, like, I'm off to work at the water slide, so like I hope to see you there. And like, knowing this, I'm like, oh, okay, so I have to go. So I remember I ended up getting up, I ended up getting ready, packing my things, and I ended up picking up 2 of my homies that said they would come with me if I was going again. I picked them up in my car, and we drove all the way down another half an hour drive back to the water slides that we went to the day before to go see this girl. I remember when I got there, I sent her a snap of me actually being there, and when she sent me a snap saying, oh OMG, I'm so excited to see you. And then I ended up snapping her back saying, yeah, so like what station are you working at? Like which water slide are you like watching over? Because apparently she was watching over the water slides and stuff. And basically like I had to like basically wait until her station was done with, I guess. I don't know how it works to be a lifeguard, to be honest. If you have any lifeguards in the comments or watching this video, please comment down below. But anyway, she ended up snapping me saying, oh, like I'm working at this water slide. And apparently it was the water slide that was like one of the ones that I would never go on because it was so sketchy and it was so scary looking that it made like no sense to me, because it was like one of those like slides that like had no like coverage. It wasn't like a tube slide. It was like a flat down straight slide all the way down. And me, I was actually terrified of this water slide. I'm not gonna lie, for me being like what, 16 at the time, I was actually generally so scared to go down this water slide that I didn't want to go down it. I remember one of the boys looked at me and said, yo Bubba, what water slide is you working at? And I ended up telling them which one, and they literally told me, bro, you gotta go down the water slide, she's testing you. I remember I looked at them like, what do you mean she's testing me? And then he said, well bro, isn't that like the scariest water slide here? Like it's scarier than the black hole, man. Like just go down it and just go talk to her and like impress her that you can go down any water slide in this park. Bro, I literally told him there's no way I'm gonna go down that water slide, because here's why. Basically, I remember that like a couple days before going to the water slides with me and the boys, and this was before the first time I met this girl, I ended up seeing videos of people falling off water slides, and this exact slide, well, it looked the exact same, but something towards the exact same slide, I remember a kid went down it and ended up flying off and breaking his neck. Yes, literally, you think I'm gonna be that guy? No, thank you. So I remember I ended up telling him, bro, there is no way I'm going down this water slide because this is like scary, you know what I mean? And he's like, dude, literally you'll be fine. But then I told him, dude, I weigh like 140 pounds. If I go down that and that thing flings me off the very end, I'm dead. So he ended up laughing and stuff, saying, bro, just go talk to her, quit being a wuss. And basically I decided for my first water slide I was gonna go down, it was gonna be the one where she was watching over. I remember I basically ended up going up the lineup, and I literally waited like 20 minutes to go see this girl because the lineup was actually pretty long, knowing it was the scariest water slide. And I remember when I got to the very top and I saw her there, she looked at me and started smiling. She was wearing a tighter swimsuit, by the way, so like holy cow, right when I saw her, I'm not gonna lie, I was already getting bricked up. But literally I looked at her and I'm like, hey, how you doing? It's good to see you. I gave her a hug, and basically she told me, she's like, so you're gonna go down this water slide? I thought you were too scared to go down this one. And I was like, what made you think I'm scared? She ended up telling me, well, I mean, don't think I didn't see you talking to your friends and pointing at the water slide. Obviously you were scared or something. Bruh, I was telling them how I was so brave that this was the easiest water slide to go down, is what I told her. And then afterwards she looked at me and said, okay, well, whenever you're ready, you can go down it. At this point she was testing me to go down the scariest water slide in this whole park. So I remember I looked at her and said, all right, you know what, bet. So I remember this was the funniest thing for me because this was so weird, but basically I sat down in front of the slide, I got ready, and I closed my eyes and literally started praying. I'm like, please don't die, please don't die, I don't want to die, please don't die, I really have a lot to live for, please, I just want to bang this girl, please let me just do the devil's tango with this girl. Okay, I'm gonna go down the slide. Okay, I'm gonna start going down. I was literally saying myself a prayer, and I ended up going down the slide, and I actually ended up making it. I mean, I didn't see any of it go down, nor did I see the view or anything, but I mean, I went down it. I remember at the very end, I literally stood up and I looked at her and I'm like, you know, giving her the thumbs up, and she ended up basically like snapping me saying that was so hot of me going down a water slide. Now that I think of it now, it's actually kind of weird. But then she ended up afterwards telling me that she had a break in like 20 minutes where she's gonna be watching over the lazy river so we can like talk and stuff. So I ended up saying bet. So I remember I went back up to the boys, and all the boys were impressed that I went down this water slide for this girl. They all looked at me saying, bro, there's no way you actually did that. Good stuff, bro. And they ended up dabbing me up, and I ended up saying, bro, you already know it's about to go down. And then basically from there, I remember we ended up hanging out, going around, getting some snacks, and then afterwards I ended up basically meeting up with the girl at the lazy river. When I met up with her, I remember I sat down on a tube on the lazy river where a lot of kids peed in, by the way. It was really gross to be in there. And I basically started talking to her. She was basically saying how, like, you know, it's very cute of me to come back and stuff. And then she ended up saying, hey, so like, what are you doing afterwards? Like in like an hour or so. I ended up telling her how like I was just planning on going home, I guess, because, you know, there's nothing much going on. And then she said, I mean, do you want to just come back to my place instead? I remember when she said this, I'm like, no way. Because there was no way I was going to hit up a girl that was a lifeguard and going back to her place after being at the water slides. That is such a W. So I ended up telling the boys that they need their own way to get home because I want to go back to this chick's house. And basically, I remember I looked at her and said, yeah, I can come over tonight, as I'm sitting right beside her. And literally, really quickly, while no one was looking, surprisingly, I ended up kissing her. Knowing that 100% if I was going back to this girl's house, I was gonna go do the devil's tango with her, bro. Like, no way I don't. So I remember basically afterwards, I ended up standing up and getting us, you know, some like snacks to eat. And I got her fries and stuff. And we basically started sitting down eating. And I'm not gonna lie, we kind of had our own little date. But knowing afterwards, after this, we're gonna go back to her place. Well, you already know what was gonna go down. All right, yo, what is going on, you guys? My name is Bubba, and welcome back to another insane story. But before I do get into the story, I just want to mention a quick announcement. I just want to say that since Christmas is coming up and we are leading up to Christmas, I'm gonna be doing a Christmas advent calendar for the week leading up to Christmas. Basically, in my Discord server, we're gonna have some crazy events from movie nights to game nights, and on top of that, crazy live streams that you guys can participate in, and where I will be telling more insane, crazy stories. Also, we will be doing giveaways for this week, so make sure you guys do join into the Discord server if you guys haven't already, and verify yourselves to get ready for this awesome Christmas event. So click the link down below in my description, and let's get straight into this crazy, insane story. All right, so I know you guys want the next part of this, and here's the last and final part. Basically, me and the lifeguard, where did it end up going? So afterwards, this date that I had with her, which was in the last episode, if you guys haven't seen the last two episodes, I highly advise you guys going to go check it out. Basically, I remember me and her, we basically decided to go home together that day, except I was gonna go to her place. Yes, she literally invited me to her place, as she was literally on duty being a lifeguard. Kind of insane, but at the same time, I mean, it's a win-win scenario for me, because you already know, boys, watching this video, that I was gonna go do the devil's tango. But before that, obviously, I made sure the boys got home, because I ended up driving two of my homies out there to go to the water slides that she was originally working at. But here's the thing that really got really weird. She literally had 4 more hours of work to do, and I was stuck at the water slides for 4 more hours. And if you guys don't know, this was a water park that was really well known here in Vancouver. And basically, I was gonna have to wait there until almost towards nighttime, because her shift ends at like 8 p.m. Which, I mean, that's not that late for some people. And since it was summer, I mean, it doesn't really matter, I guess. But I remember basically, as she was working, I went on water slides back to back to back to back. And I ended up getting a day pass anyway, so it's not like they were gonna kick me out. And I remember towards when the water slides were closing, I ended up leaving, drying out myself, and basically waiting in my car for her to come back. When I was waiting, I remember I was so bricked and excited. Like, it was unreal. Knowing that I was gonna go do the devil's tango with this girl was awesome. But then I remember I basically sat in my car, waited for her, and when she came out, I remember she went and instantly went to go talk to some guy. Now, at first, I was suspicious. I'm like, whoa, who is this guy, bro? Like, why are you talking to a guy when he's supposed to be coming home with me tonight? Like, what? But then I realized was that she just had like a little short conversation, pointed at my car, and then left. I have no idea why, but I guess she ended up just telling him that she didn't need a ride or something. That was my guess from there. And then afterwards, she ended up walking up to my car, putting her stuff in the back of my car, and then afterwards sat inside and said, okay, so how you doing? She ended up giving me a kiss, and basically we started making out of my car for a bit. And then afterwards, she said, okay, we should really just head back to my place, because, like, you know, I kind of like work here. And I ended up saying, oh yeah, like for sure, I'm down. So I ended up starting my car, and we ended up driving, and obviously it was still kind of bothering my mind who that guy was. So I ended up saying, yo, so I'm just curious, like, who was that guy you were talking to once you like got out, like, you know, the water slides? She ended up saying, oh, like, that's my coworker who usually just drives me home. He's a really nice guy, but I told him I didn't need him today. And I ended up saying, oh, okay, cool. One thing I found odd was that why didn't she say it earlier? But at the same time, they were at work, so I guess it makes sense. I don't know. But basically, I was driving this girl back to her place, and when I remember I put down her address on my GPS, and when I did, I realized that she lived in an apartment. Now, if she had like family at home, there was no way she was gonna sneak me into an apartment, and there was no way I was gonna jump like 40 floors if I'm gonna have to escape or something, because obviously the typical exit for me would be out the window usually, or the back door, or, you know, even the basement door. Sorry, I sound like a real serial killer here, but you guys know what I mean. Like, I had an exit basically for every time I needed to get out of something. But in an apartment, well, as a person who lives in an apartment right now, it's almost impossible to escape from. But anyways, as I was thinking of an escape route and stuff, I basically told her, yo, so like, you don't have any family home? She ended up looking at me saying, what? Family at home? No. Why would I have family at home? And I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, like, why would you? It's not like people have families. Like, what? Family? Nah. Yeah, I was being sarcastic, but I guess she didn't really tag on. And then I ended up going to her place, and I ended up parking my car under her parking garage. And let's just say from there, yeah, I basically ended up going upstairs with her, taking the elevator, and we ended up going into her place. I remember when we entered her apartment, I looked around, and it looked like that she was the only one living there. Like, there was a couch, a TV, there wasn't like any family photos, nothing. Then I ended up looking at her saying, yo, so like, do you live here by yourself? She ended up looking at me saying, oh yeah, like, I'm here for like school. So in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, it's a foreign exchange student. but she wasn't foreign. She was born here is what she told me. So I was so confused. And then afterwards, I was like, wait, so like, where are your family? She ended up saying how like she moved out of her parents' house and stuff because she was getting too old to live with her parents. And I'm like, wait, what? How old are you? And then she ended up telling me, and I'm not joking when I say this, she ended up telling me she was 22. Guys, I was 16 and she was 22 and I am entering her house. It was really random and a quick turn of events, but I didn't say anything. I didn't feel like I should say anything because I didn't want anything to go wrong. So I remember me and her, we ended up sitting on the couch, and then afterwards, I remember she basically looked at me saying, oh, like, we still like have like a lot of chlorine on us. Do you want to like take a shower together? Sure, is what I said. So afterwards, I remember I basically ended up going to this girl's bedroom, and when I went to her bedroom, I saw something suspicious. And I wish I didn't do anything at this moment, but I did. Knowing me, I was back in high school. I was a dumb kid. But basically, I remember I looked around and I legit saw guys' clothing, like a clothing for a guy's closet in that apartment. At this point, I knew this girl definitely has some guy. There's no way she does not have a boyfriend. So I remember I basically looked at her and said, oh, is this like your stuff? And then she ended up saying some dumb excuse saying, oh, like that's my dad's. Like he sometimes leaves his clothes over. Okay, sure. So me and this girl, we ended up going to the shower, and yes, we did shower together and we did end up doing the devil's tango. It was super fun and super exciting, and honestly, don't get me wrong, I did what I had to do. Like my stamina was going crazy that night. But then afterwards was where the really bad part was. Because I remember after the shower, we ended up going out. We ended up going to the living room, watching a movie, and we were cuddling. But as we were, I remember out of nowhere, there was a guy who just enters the apartment randomly and starts saying, oh, what's going on? I remember I look around and I'm like, oh, shoot. Something tells me that's not her dad. And afterwards, I remember this lifeguard gets up and says, what are you doing here? Like, you weren't supposed to be back for like another like couple days. I remember they ended up like looking at each other and start arguing. And the guy looks at me saying, so who are you, huh? I ended up telling him how I basically like just came down because she invited me down and basically said I was a friend, even though he literally saw me and her basically cuddling in the couch. Like there was no way to explain it. Like if this guy was dumb, then maybe I could have gotten away with it. But basically he started looking at me, he started yelling at me, then he started yelling at his girl, and one thing led to another. It was her boyfriend. So I basically said, you know what? I don't need to be here for this. And I basically ended up getting my stuff and ended up leaving. But then as I was leaving, I remember this guy was like, yo, real quick, show me some ID. What is what I said? I said, you want me to give you my ID? The girl's like, oh, like, don't listen to him. He's just being dumb. And he's like, no, give me your ID. So I remember I ended up pulling out my school pass. Yeah, not the smartest moment. And then afterwards, when I pulled out my school pass, the guy looks at me saying, dude, you're in high school? The girl ended up looking at me saying, what? You're in high school? And I ended up basically saying, yeah, I'm 16. And then basically I got in so deep trouble because this girl was freaking out saying, oh my goodness, like I'm 22. Like you should have told me that earlier. Like what? And I ended up taking this main excuse that many people say, you didn't ask. And then afterwards I got my ID back. I ended up taking this guy's keys and basically went downstairs, got my car out and threw the keys out the window and basically dipped out of there because there was no way I was gonna stay there any longer. Like I already did my devil's tango. Like I'm just there to leave at this point. So I ended up leaving, and let's just say I never turned back around because there was no way I was gonna contact her again. I unadded her on Snapchat even though she blocked me earlier. And yeah, let's just say one thing led to another. I ended up going home telling the boys what happened, and they ended up laughing their butts off. Anyways, guys, leave a like and subscribe, and like I always say, for more embarrassing stories, peace out, guys.